At this point in time, if I say you are going to see a massive bump in XRP and a 3-digit XRP in this market cycle, you will say I am mad. But before you close this video and move on, don't you really think my reason for such a thought is not important? Or important? Will you give the weightage for that? If you think it is important, then continue watching and you will understand why I say so. Now, exchanges are going for privacy coins. Why is this so important for us? When SEC came for XRP, many moved to other assets. So the volume or new flow of money is moving the direction. Now, when regulators are stepping on privacy coins, institutions are doubling down on XRP. They are buying it more. So they see further value in this asset even after being filed a lawsuit from SEC, and exchanges are delisting XRP all over US. You can actually see US exchanges are suspending or delisting XRP left and right, and this is still moving on when these institutions increase their holdings in XRP. So it is the macro perspective of these institutional traders. Why? Because they are buying more and more XRP, because they see this macro perspective. Their macro traders see this. And what does it actually sound like when we say this is going to happen? Who had regulatory clarity for XRP in these regions? Europe, Singapore, Japan and all. We still understand that XRP have that regulatory clarity in these areas, in these geographical locations. And why do you think that it is important? Or why do you think they are considering this initiative when economy is in deep waters? Because they see how China is surviving, how China is thriving, right? This current health crisis has turned into an economic disaster, and still China is moving ahead. What do you think is the relevant tool which can be used by different nations to keep this change coming in to survive? It's huge, right? It's not that small. Okay, now what about the price if these events in macro is being played out? What do you actually think about the price and where will we go in this market cycle? Stay with me and I will explain different scenarios and different factors which shows us towards why we are going to go high and what are the possibilities or probabilities that we will meet. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. We see a lot of positive and negative news. We see the price going down. Within US, XRP is being chased and XRP holders are being warned about holding XRP in different exchanges. But we also saw a document highlighting Grayscale dumped huge amount of XRP. Then this one come out. Faulty data. Grayscale didn't liquidate massive amounts of XRP and XLM. Instead, we just now saw that XRP holdings has been increased in that institution. When XRP is being delisted or halted in different US exchanges and for US customers from different exchanges around the globe. So what are you actually looking at? We are going to see massive disruptions. Massive disruption in the sense giants are actually fighting their own war in this economy. NYSE to delist Chinese telco giants on US executive order. See, this is Jan 1, 2021. So 2021 is already starting like this, and by the end of 2020, Brexit is done, right? New era for UK as it completes separation from European Union. So when you look at these economical macro perspective and the current health crisis which is coming coming back with new waves. Spain registers highest new virus count since the start of pandemic. That gives you an idea what 2021 is showing you. Even though we have the health crisis and the solution being pointed out as the vaccines, for creating vaccines for 7 billion population, then distributing it all over the world, it will take time. And by that time, there would be capitulation. Still, China's economy is set to overtake US earlier. Why? Because they have some advantages which they are using, which US is not having right now. Why? The regulators can't see what actually is that which is keeping them ahead. I mean, the China ahead right now. Now, before we actually close on those macro perspective, you also need to understand about the price. When we see this macro terms and we talk about this, in a shorter term medium trend line, we have actually crossed to the bottom. We haven't came back above this. We are still at the bottom of this. But this weekly candle has not yet closed, and the close of this weekly candle may signal bearishness, with the RSI actually being crossed to the downside and the MACD pointing you towards the downside here, right? That's what you actually see on a short-term scenario when you look at weekly chart and close in on recent price fluctuation. But what do you actually see on a longer time frame? Why do you think XRP can actually reach 3-digit? You will need explanations for that, right? We see a trend line like this, but if you zoom in on here, again there is a small catch. Say you are going to take this trend line, you will extend it from the bottom here towards the top. I'm doing it again for you guys here so that if this image is not clear, you should be able to see that here. The price is just below this. The candle hasn't closed yet and we are still fighting. So if the bulls manage to get this above this price range, say around 0.26, we close above that, then that is going to be bullish for XRP. And if that happens, then the turnout of XRP in the next market cycle would be something like this. Say from this point towards this point, which is 2014 all-time high towards 2017-18's all-time high, that's 6,750%. Now you put the same thing above, you get around $287 per XRP. Now, wait, that XRP percentage of rise is based on last market cycle and its supply and demand. Right now, you can say that the supply is changing, the demand is varying. So, how will it actually affect the market? Even if you calculate that from the bottom towards the top here, you would be getting around 146 XRP, $146 per XRP. Now, what are those calculations based on? Say this market cycle started here and it took 308 days to the top. Now, from that top towards the start of this bull run, it took around 1,183 days. After which it broke this trend line, which we broke here, but we came back below this. Now, considering that market cycle took 1,183 days, here we took less than that. So, the time of market cycle moving up, say the mark up in that market cycle will be more. Now, let's go in and look at the deviations in percentage. Say the first one, the preparatory wave which broke above this trend line here, horizontal trend line, which is say the resistance is 100% here. But we actually had to come above here to break that. But the euphoric state in the short term pushed us around 527%. There is like into 500% more than this, right? So if you look at the second one, the next pump here, it is actually showing you this one is the second one. Yeah, from the bottom of that preparatory wave towards the top, it's 540%. And we got 500% here, say 527, 530%. So that means if the next wave here is 1,500%, say something near to 1,600%, we can expect something similar from the recent high. And if you plot that, you kind of reach around $11.9 towards $20. The fluctuations takes you like that, right? If you plot that here, first thing is just taking that one and extrapolating that here, which gives you this one around $11. Now the next thing you consider, this one is 500%. The first one was 100% and we got 500%, so it's into 5. So the next one, if you plot it, you get like 2500%. That takes you near $20. So $11 to $20. Okay, now that's not that small thing, right? It's still huge price fluctuation considering where we are in the price right now, 0.24, right? Then if you want to look at the same in a closer perspective, considering the recent price action based on the current circulating supply and the demand in the market, you kind of get to see this. You use RSI, MACD for the trend analysis and then use Fibonacci to understand the price fluctuation. Then you can actually see that when you take out the first one, you kind of reach the top just above 1.618 in the Fibonacci. Then you do that again and you get the next one about 4.23. Okay, so for the next one from here, if you plot this, if this trend is continuing, the next one should be more than 4.236. If you take that into percentage from here, it should hit the all-time high or just above that. So if you consider history and calculate the current one, it's still showing you a minimum of around $6 to $7, or extending it in the current scenario towards $3.8 to $4. Remember, when this is happening at the same time on the MACD, you are getting across to the downside on weekly. So this may happen after a further more correction. And that correction may not actually reach 0.1 as being highlighted here, but the chances are still there. Why? The previous low which we put out was around 0.12. So 0.1 or 0.11 means kicking out those buyers who are still in here with their leverage. But the chances for that looks really rare, just 5%. The 95% shows you that it may consolidate in this range and then move higher. Why do we think that? Because when BTC is giving you a rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern, say 60 to 65% of time it breaks to the downside, and the RSI and MACD is pointing you towards similar idea that we may cross to the downside, because when the price is fluctuating to the upside, higher high, RSI is showing you lower high and lower high, same with MACD here. At the same time, when you look at XRP, it is showing you a falling wedge. When you zoom in, you can actually clearly get that as a falling wedge, with the percentage being varied from 40 towards 65%. Now that's a short to medium term. Now, I'm not a short-term trader, but when you look at short-term, you actually got a breakout. We moved to the upside there. So that's significant. When BTC is making new highs and moving in this falling wedge, which is a bearish pattern, XRP is showing you bullish patterns. So when you really look at this, the market is changing. Regulators are stepping for the privacy coins, and then exchanges are delisting or halting the trade for that. It's not SEC coming against it, right? There is no much huge announcement, but they are coming against the privacy coins. And then you see institutions moving more in towards XRP. When the panic sell is happening, the price is moving to the downside. If you look at the general trend, they were buying, they were continuing to buy, and when the price is going down, they still buy and hold. They still buy here. So if you are looking at this, you can see how it is moving, right? The trend in their direction. So if we are expecting the same to continue, it would do the same thing, because the market cycle is something which their traders, the macro perspective traders, understand. So now when we look currently back at this and say there is a possibility that we are going to reach $146 per XRP, It's not that hard. You can just go in. You can, if you are not using time, trend and percentage to extrapolate things, if it is hard for you to do such math, then it kind of gives you a little bit ease to use the bar patterns and extend it and take it towards the bottom here. Now, why I use the bottom here? Say you are looking at this point where we crossed to the upside, right? So similar thing is happening here. We crossed to the upside. Now, yes, it's a different story that we came back below that, but the trend happened in the similar direction. This short-term fluctuation happened because of SEC. Now, if that is the same story, it's easy to plot the trend line resistance. You plot this here, you plot this here, you still reach around $165, $140 to $165. So when you target the 80% of that, you still has a 3-digit XRP moving to the upside in that resistance zone. But keep this in mind. Again, we are moving inside this trend. You put the bottom here, then connect the bottom of this pattern already put in this market cycle here, and then connect this. So you zoom in and see that we are breaking below that. That shows a bit of caution there, but we haven't closed this candle yet, and we can see when sellers are selling each unit, there is demand from the end of buyers. They are buying this up, and that's why you are seeing this long wick here. You look at here, the candle was closed in red. You still had a long wick there showing you buyers are interested in buying this asset, and then you get a small wick again like this, and the trend changed. Something similar if happening here on a weekly. Now it's a weekly chart. You need patience to understand how it evolves. Unlike you move into a 4-hour chart and you look, in a daily trend, you understand what's happening, you can look at it. It's easy, but when you move on to a weekly chart, it's for more strong guys, the patient guys. If your level of perseverance is high, then you can hold on to this asset and reap the benefit like this. Because when the macro perspective is changing like this, if US needs to accelerate, then they need tools to overcome this. If they want to still remain the same thing as the largest economy in the world, they need a lot of different tools. And for that, first they need regulatory clarity. And that's why this is coming sooner than we expect. Here, a judge asked the Ripple and SEC to make this faster. So it may happen even before we think it's going to happen. And when these kind of stuff is evolving, yes, exchanges are pushing out XRP holders inside US. Now consider US is just 10% of market for XRP, 90% is outside. And that is one of the huge advantage which Japan, Singapore, Europe and all have when they use this technology. Now, what do you think your portfolio is aligned for? Is it full of stocks still now? When the debt ratio is increasing so high, the market is floating only because the central banks are printing. If you know that, you know what to do. Then you look at, giant investors like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, what they state and what they are doing. They are still holding huge chunk of cash. Even though cash is a depreciating stuff right now, they are holding on to that. Why do you think they are doing that? They still see a huge drop in market even after this. So that leads you towards a crash in the economy. And how are they looking to survive? They're going to change the current financial system into a new one. So when the central bank digital currency is being rolled out, the most relevant cryptocurrency to support that would be XRP. You can go into the report from the World Economic Forum and read through that and understand we are entering into the new phase. The macro perspective still guides you in that way. Now, when you go into XRP on a shorter time frame, you can actually see different kind of price fluctuations, requirements and all if you are a trader. If you're trading this market, these kind of stuff which if you get early gives you that advantage to look at the market. Okay, we are doing this. We can look at that. Now that's not only for XRP. If you look at different assets, we just hit, Polkadot, we hit like 40% to the upside recently after the call out on the Patreon. Now, all of those I'll actually share with you guys once the complete targets are fulfilled. Otherwise, what's the difference between those who are paying and getting this in the Patreon and those who are just getting for XRP here in the YouTube? If you would like to get more value for your portfolio with different assets than XRP, if you have a lot of different crypto assets or other assets like commodities, forex market or anything, you can get those support via Patreon. The link is actually given in the description if you would like to enter. This is the maximum value which you can get, because this is the start of a new month and a new year where you start with new bullish perspective to change yourself by educating yourself to become an investor. If you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.